Hello all, this is Santosh and welcome to Tech Design. In this video, I'm going to give you complete knowledge on Sketcher environment in NX19 version. So I have divided this video into three parts. The first part is going to be creating a curves and lines, and the second part is going to be giving a dimensions for the lines whatever you have created. And then the third part is very important, that is giving a constraint, geometric constraint to particular curves. So by the end of this video, you can able to create a simple sketches in NX19 or lower versions. So you can check my playlist. I have already created many simple exam exercises. So you can check and practice them. So let's get started with today's session. So now you can see here, this is our simple model. I have created one model and there is nothing is there. You can see, you can go to part navigator and you can see there is no features are available here. Only the datum coordinate system is available. So this is our datum coordinate system. So now let's see how we can enter into a Sketcher environment. So you can just go to sketch here. Once you open the sketch command, you can see we need to give an plane for this. So I'm going to select any one of the plane here. So I'm going to select this plane and I can just click OK. So this is the simple way how we can enter into a Sketcher environment. So but there are different many ways you can enter into a Sketcher environment. I have already made a video on this particular tutorial, so you can just check it in my YouTube channel. So now you can see here, as soon as you enter into a Sketcher environment, you can see the profile. So the profile command is already active, and these are the different types of profile we can able to create. So the profile is a basic command which can able to create lines and arcs. So suppose if you want a line and in the immediate after the line you want to create a curve, so in that case you can use this particular profile. So now let us see how it works. So now you can see here there are two options here. One is line and arc. So based on this selection you can able to create a line and arc on this particular plane. So now I'm going to create a line. So again it is going for another line. Suppose from this point if you want to create a arc here, so you can just highlight this one. So once you highlight this one, you can see the arc has been appeared. So again it will take a line here. So this way you can be able to use this. So whenever you want an arc, you can just switch it to arc here and draw an arc. So automatically it will switch to line again. So this is the way how we can use a simple profile. So I'm going to delete this profile now, whatever we have created. So now we can go for rectangle. So the shortcut for this rectangle is R, which is a default NX version. All the versions will have this R as a default keyboard shortcut. So for creating rectangle. So I'm going to select this particular rectangle. Once you select, you can see this window. So there are three methods we can able to create a rectangle. So one very simple way is giving diagonal points. 2 points we can able to give in diagonal manner. Say now this is my first point and this is my second point. So once you give 2 points, you can able to see our rectangle is being created. And there is a one more method by 3 points. So you need to enter 3 points here. So my first will be this one, and second will be over here, and the third will be this width. So it is going to give it is going to ask you for dimensions here. So suppose if you hit it here one, and it is asking for a width. You can see here the width. You can just enter width as 100 and height as 50. Okay, so if you hit angle as 0, you can see the particular rectangle is being created. So this is how you can use these 3 points. And there is one more method which is very important. So we'll just go to rectangle here, and this is a center point. Say for example, you can see this sketch origin is over here. So suppose if this point you want it to be center of this particular rectangle, in that case you can just use this from center. So this is going to be my from center. I'm going to select this here and I will drag it over here, and I will just select one more point over here, and I'm going to give a width here. So this is now you can see here this center, whatever the origin center point will be there, this will become a center of this particular rectangle. So this is mostly used rectangle method, and the second most use is this 2 point diagonal points. So these are the two ways how we can able to create a rectangle. So now I'm going to delete this. So now we can see here there is a circle. So whatever the circle options and arc options are same here. So let us discuss on this circle. So the first point is center of the point, and then we can give the diameter. So now you can see this will be my center of the point, and now I'm going to give a diameter. You can see that it is asking for a diameter. You can tap over here, or else you can give the value diameter as a 200 mm and click enter. So once you enter this, you can see our particular circle is being created. This is by 2 points. The one is you are giving the center of the point, and the second one is you are giving the diameter. And now the second method is by providing 3 points. So you can see here first point, and this is the second point, and this is going to be my 3 points. So you need to enter 3 points in order to create this particular circle. So how, in what manner it will be useful? Say for example, now I have this, you know let us create a triangle here. So this is my triangle, and you want one circle which passes through all these 3 points. In that case, you can use this circle and by 3 points, and you need to select these 3 points. So you can see the circle is being created by all these 3 points are lying on that circle. This is how we can create these two types of circles. So the most useful circle method is the first one. You are going to give the center of the circle and then diameter of the circle. Now we can have a line here. So line is very simple. You just need to give 2 points and the line will be created. So whenever you select 2 points, you will be able to create a line. So line is very simple, so I don't want to discuss on that. So now let's go to arc. So now we have an arc here. So as I said in the previous, arc method and circle methods are same. Once you hit here, you can see here 3-point arc. So there will be 3 points you need to mention, and here this is a center point and radius. So I'm going to select this. So now we need to enter a center point. So you can just select center point here, and now we need to provide a radius here. So I'm going to give 100 mm, and I will just hit enter, and now the start point and end point. So this is going to be 100 mm arc. Suppose if you want to create a 3-point arc, so you can just go to here and you need to enter 3 points. So you can see here the first point will be start of the arc, and the second point will be end of the arc, and the third point will be your radius. Okay, so this is how we can create an arc here, guys. So now let me go to the next option, that is spline. Spline is very less used inside the Sketcher environment, so I'm not going to go in depth into a spline command. So you can just go to spline command and start providing the particular points. So it will create a spline. Suppose if you want to move this, you can just move using you can just move it over here, and you can just edit this spline. But this is not mostly used inside the Sketcher environment, but it can be used outside the Sketcher environment, that is in the 3D model. Okay, so now the point option is there. So whenever the point option is there, you can just tap, and you can able to see the points everywhere. Okay, so now we have so these are the whatever the options that we have discussed so far are for creating a lines and creating your sketcher. And then we have multiple options over here: fillet, chamfer, and these things. So these are for modifying a lines or a sketch whatever we have created. So now you can see here I'm going to draw a simple lines here. So this is going to be my first line, and let me draw one more circle here. Okay, so this is for I'm drawing this for in order to explain these things. So now we can see here there is a one circle, and also there is one more circle here. So this is a simple model I have created in order to explain these things. So fillet, as you know, that it is going to create an arc here whenever you have a corner. So once you go to fillet, you need to enter a radius. So it is asking for a radius. So suppose if I give 5 mm, and you need to select two edges. So if I select these two edges, you can see the arc is being created. So suppose the radius, once you enter a radius, it will be there as it is. You can see the radius 5 mm over here, and you can just go on selecting a particular edges. Suppose if you want to give a different radius for this particular corner, so you can just enter 15 over here and then select these corners. So this is how fillet works. So chamfer is the same way as of whatever the fillet, but it is having a symmetric and asymmetric and offset angle methods. So we are going to discuss on symmetric now. So symmetric, I'm going to enter a distance as 50 mm. So from this corner, if you want to create a chamfer, so I'm going to select these two lines, and here I'm going to enter 20 distance. And now you can see from this point it is having both side, it is having 20 mm as a distance. So this is what the symmetric means. So asymmetric means, I think you will already know that. So now we need to provide a corner where, let us create a one corner here. Okay, so here I'm going to provide a asymmetric in the sense different values. So go to asymmetric, and we can just select these two. And once a distance 1, you can see here, so distance 1 I'm going to give 20, and distance 2 I'm going to give it as a 30. So you can see the 1 and 2 over here. So 1 and 2 is given here. So suppose if you want to modify anything, you can just modify over here. So I'm going to give 1 and 2, and let me click over here. So as soon as I click here, you can see here 15 mm is over here and 20 mm. This is going to be a symmetric value. So hit Ctrl Z, and let us see for angle and distance. So now we can see here the distance I'm going to give 20 mm and 45 degree. So first I'll just provide it over here, and now let me explain it to you. You can see here the angle we have is 45 degree and the distance over here is 20 degree. So this is how the angle and offset works. So this is about the fillet and chamfer. So fillet is going to give you an arc here similar to like this, and chamfer is going to give you a sharp edges like this. Okay, so now we can move on to offset, pattern, and mirror. So these command you can able to use produce a different multiple arcs or lines by using a reference. Say for example, you have a circle here with a 10 mm of radius. Suppose if you want to create a 20 mm of radius, so you don't need to make it again. So you can just go to offset here and select this particular circle and give the distance, whatever the distance you want. Say for example 20 mm, and now I don't want a symmetric, so I'll just put it here. So this is going to be a one side. Suppose if you give offset, it will be inside also. So I'll just switch off this, and now I'm going to create. Okay, so you can see here 20 mm distance. This is a radius, so 20 mm distance, there will be one more circle created. So similarly, it is not only for a circle. Suppose if you have this particular profile here, so if you want to offset this by 10 mm, so you can just go to here, and instead of connected curves, I'm going to select a single curve here. So these are the three curves I have selected, and now you can see here 20 mm distance is along like this. Suppose if you want an offset on the above, so you can just reverse the direction here, so it will going to be on the reverse direction, and you can just click OK. So this is how we can create an offset. So suppose if you want a multiple offset, so in that case also you can just go to offset and select this particular circle, and here you can see number of copies, so you can just go on increasing it. So suppose if you want 10 numbers, you can just give as a 10, so you can just click OK, and all the 10 circles will be created. Okay, so one more tip over here is say for example in all these things, offset, pattern, and mirror, there will be constraint will be created. Say for example, this is a constraint, you can see here this is offset constraint, and here also there will be one offset constraint. This is going to be an offset constraint, and this is also an offset constraint. So once this offset constraint is created, whatever the parent that you have should be there. Say for example, this is going to be our parent, whatever the other circles we have are child parts. So suppose if this is deleted, so you're going to lose all the patterns. Say for example, now this is going to be our parent. So suppose if I delete this, so whatever the particular line will be deleted. So in order to delete only the parent, so in order to delete only the parent, you need to delete this constraint. So I'm going to delete this constraint first, and then I'm going to delete this parent. In that case, whatever the child circle that you have created, it will be remain as it is, but you need to constrain this. You need to give different dimension for this to constrain. Okay, so this is how this offset works. So now let us discuss on this pattern. So pattern, we have two methods of pattern. One is a linear method, another one is circular method. So these are the two most important. So I'm going to select a linear, and this circle I want in along the y direction. So you can see here there is a y direction. So along y direction, suppose if you want, so you can just select it, and the direction you can just provide along this direction. And now you can see count and pitch, count and span, and pitch and span. So these are the three different options we have. So I'm going to discuss only on count and pitch, so you can just check other how it works. So count is number of counts, how many counts we need. Say for example 10 number of counts we need, so we can just provide 10 number of counts. Okay, so pitch is the distance between two circles. So two circles, whatever this distance and this distance, so center of the circles are here, so these are the center of circle. So now it is 15 mm. So suppose if I want to increase it, you can just give it as 100 mm. So it is going to be 100 mm. So let me give it more than this circle. So now you can see here it is 128 mm is the pitch. So between these two circle there will be 128 mm, and between these two circle again it is 128 mm. And there is one more option here, count and span. So count, I already told you, the span is nothing but the distance from the first pattern to the last pattern. So the distance between this point to this point, it will be 1152. So you can just play around these options, and depending on your requirement you can change it and give the input, and you can just click OK. So once you click OK, you can see the pattern is being created, and also we have a pattern constraint here. Say for example, if this is deleted, all the circles will be gone. So suppose if you want to delete this, so first delete this constraint, and then you can just delete this circle. So then whatever the child circles that you have created, everything will remain as it is. Okay, this is going to be our linear pattern. So suppose there will be one more option called circular pattern. So you can just go to circular pattern, and now this arc I wanted to, this curve I wanted to pattern, and now we need to specify the point along which it should pattern. So I'm going to select this point now, and number of count and pitch the same way how it works in this particular linear path, it works in the same way. So now suppose if I want say for example 8 number of circles, the span will be going to 360 degree. Okay, so you can see all the 8 number of circles are created with a span of 360 degree, and you can just click OK. Okay, so this is going to be our circular pattern constraint. Okay, so I'm going to Control Z. Okay, now the next option is mirror. So in the mirror is we need the reference center line. So you can just give the center line for any line you are existing, or if you have created any of the center line, you can just provide the center line as a reference, or if you have any x-axis or y-axis, that also you can also provide it as a center line. So now we are going to select a mirror, and this is the curve. I'm going to select this curve, and my center line will be along x direction. So it has been created, you can see here. So either you can give x-axis, or you can just give whatever the line you have. So I'm going to select this. Now let me select this as a center line, so you can see the curve is being created. So this is how so now you can see here, whatever the curve or line you will select as a center line, it will be converted into a construction line. So suppose if you don't want to make it, so I'll just go to mirror again and select this curve, and there will be an option here, so convert center line to reference. So this you can just switch off, and now we can select the center line. So once you do that, whatever the line you have selected for mirroring, it will be there as it is. Okay, so this is how we can create these offset, pattern, and mirror. Now we can discuss on trim, extend, and corner. So the name itself gives you an idea about a trim. So it is going to trim the line. Say for example, this is the line you want to trim, you can just trim it out. So until the next point it will be trimmed. Say for example, there is a line here, and here also there will be a line. So I'll just go to trim, and I'm going to trim this line. So I'm going to trim this line. So you can just select this trimming method, or else you can just draw a line here. So whenever you draw a line, so particular line will be trimmed. Okay, so now we can see extend. So if you suppose if you want to extend any line or arc, you can just use this particular command. So it will extend until the next point. So if you see here, so it will be extended until the next point. Suppose if you try to extend this particular edge, so you cannot able to extend because there is no obstacles here. So, and you can see here this is going to extend again, it is going to extend again, it is going to extend because it is able to see the obstacles. But suppose if you want to extend this, it is not possible. Okay, so yeah, this is the simple way you can just create and extend. And now this is very important command that we have here. So corner, say for example, I'm going to create a corner. Say whenever it comes to a corner, so it is a combination of trim and extend. Either it can be if possible it will trim, if possible it will extend the lines. Say for example, always it try to create a corner. Say now if I'm going to select these two lines, so it is going to create a corner at this point. But whatever this line it is short, and whatever this line it is too much length. So in this case, it is going to extend this line and it is going to trim this particular line and it will create a corner. So let us see how it works. So I'm going to select this line and I'm going to select this line. So you can see this line is being extended and this line is being trimmed. So it works in the both manner. Say it works in extend and trim, and it tries to create a corner. Say for example, now I'm going to create a one more line here. And suppose if I select these two lines, so these two lines, in order to create a corner, it should extend. So it will extend. So it is going to extend the lines and it is going to create a corner. So similarly, suppose if we want to create a corner over here, so in that case, it is going to trim both the lines. Okay, so one thing you just need to understand in the corner, so it always try to create a corners either by extending or by trimming the lines. Okay, so now I'll just select everything and I'm going to delete. So this is going to be our first part, and creating the lines and curves and how we can edit the lines. So I hope you understand how we can edit the lines and curves. So now we are going to discuss on the second part of the video, that is giving the dimension for particular lines. So when it comes to an NX, there will be a smart way you can just provide in dimensions. There are no, you don't need to go for all the dimensions like horizontal way, vertical way, and angles and radius. For all these things, you don't need to select different dimension commands. So there will be a simple command. You can see here rapid dimensions. So you can select this option and you can give all the kinds of dimensions. So let us see how we can give that. So in order to explain it, I'm going to create a simple sketch here. So let us have some sketches here, and so there will be an arc. So let us create an arc here. Okay, so now I will go to rapid dimension. So you can see here there is a circle. So if you want to give a diameter, so this is the command. Suppose if we have a line here, so suppose if you want to give a distance here, so this is the command. And if you have an arc here, this is the command. And there will be an angle between these two lines, and this is the command. So this is the single command you can give for all the things. But the only thing is how you select the lines, how you select the points, that is going to define whether it is a line or it is an arc or it is something angle. Okay, so now let us see how it works. Say for example, suppose if you want to give a length here, so directly go to rapid dimension and select this line. So once you select a line and if you drag out, you can see the dimension is coming. Say for example, if you want to give an radius for this, so go to here and you need to select, you can see here now center point of the particular arc. So suppose if you select a center point of particular arc, it is going to give a diameter for you. Okay, so hope you understand. And in the same way here as well. So suppose if you go to center point of the particular arc, it is going to give the radius of this particular arc. And now we can see how we can provide a angle. Say for example, there will be an angle here between these two. So go to rapid dimension and select this line, and in the second point you need to select a line again. So don't select this point. So suppose if you select this point, the distance will come. So now I'll just hit Ctrl Z and first select the line and then again select the line. Don't select the point, select the line. So in that case you are going to get this particular angle. So now you see how we can provide a distance, how we can provide an a diameter and radius and then angle. So there is one more method. Say for example, this whatever the line we have, so along this distance, not as on horizontal, not in vertical. Suppose if you want to measure this distance along whatever the vector it has, so in that case you can just go to rapid dimension and select this particular line. It will give you the along this direction as well. Okay, so along this direction, suppose if you want a horizontal direction, just move it again upward or move it again left side. So it will give horizontal, vertical and along this direction. All the three dimensions can be given to this particular line by using this point. Okay, you can see. So all these things can be given by using this rapid dimension method. So hope you understand this how we can provide a dimension. So it is very simple. The way how you select it is going to give you that particular dimensions. So only here tricky is giving an angle. So in order to provide an angle, please select two lines instead of one line and one point. Please select two lines. Okay. So now we are going to discuss on third part of the video, that is on creating or providing a geometric constraint. So there are many number of geometric constraint we have. So in order to activate a geometric constraint, you can just go to geometric constraint here, or else you can just press C. I always use to this command C, so I'm always hitting this C. Don't confuse with how it is being activated. So I'm going to hit C. This command will come. Okay. So now once I hit C, you can see there are multiple options here. So this is going to be coincident and point on a curve and tangent, and there are multiple options here. So we are going to discuss these things over here now. So now I'm going to draw one more line here. Okay, and press C. So coincidence is nothing but you are going to coincide the 2 points. So those points can be on a line, or it may be a center point of the arc or center point of the circle, or it may be a midpoint of the particular line. So anything, whatever it is, a point. Okay, so now I'm going to coincide these 2 points. So I'll just highlight this coincide and I'm going to select this point and this point. So now it has been coincide each other. So now again I am going to draw one more line here and now press C. So I'm going to coincide this point and midpoint of this line. So how we are going to do? So select this point and go to midpoint. You can see now it is selecting a midpoint. So I'm going to select this. So always you need to enter 2 points here when it comes to coincide. So now I'm going to draw a circle here and coincide. So now I want to coincide this center of the point to particular line. So select this point and this point. So it is going to coincide each other. So this is how you can use the coincide option. So now the next point is point on a curve. Okay, so this is very important command. So point on a curve. Say for example, this point I want to lay it on this particular line. So on that case, you can just do the point on curve. So here we need to enter one point and one curve. So this is going to be my point and this is going to be my curve. You can see now it is, this point is on this particular curve. It is not coincide with this point. It is on this curve. Say for example, now I'm going to draw one more circle here, and now I'm going to give point on curve for this point on this curve. Say for example, I'm just going to hit C and point on curve. So this point I want to make it on this curve. So now you can see this point is on this curve, but this is just a point on this curve. It is not exactly where it is. So the point location is not mentioned, but it is on this curve. So in the same way it is here as well. So it is not mentioned, but it is always on the this line. Okay. So now let us see, press C. You can see tangent. So tangent is very simple. I think everybody knows about this. So suppose if there is one arc or circle and one line, if you want to make a tangent, so press C and go to tangency, select a circle and line. So they are going to become a tangent here. So you can see here. So now it has been tangent, but this point is not lying on this particular circle. So if you want to make it on that, how we can do? So point on a curve. So this point should be on this curve. So now it is lying on this particular curve. Okay. So the tangency will not only work for arc and lines. So it will arc between arc and two arcs or two circles. Say for example, there is one circle and there is one more circle. So if you want to make these two tangents, so you can just go to tangency, So you can just enter these two, and this is going to be a symbol. So for every constraint there will be a symbol. So this is going to be a tangent constraint. So you can see here, so now these two are tangent. So suppose if you don't want to make them tangent, so select this and hit delete. So now it will not be a tangent, so you can just move it wherever you want. Okay, similarly for this point on a curve or coincide also, we can see here there is a constraint. So you can just select that and hit delete, and you can just move it. So similarly, this one also, there are two constraints here. One is point on a curve and another one is tangent. So if depending on your requirement, you can able to delete the constraint. So suppose if you there are two constraints and you cannot able to pick a particular constraint, what you can do is you can just right click here and go to select from list. So it is going to show you whatever the all the selections on this point. So you can see tangent constraint and point on a curve and line and arc. So you can just select whatever you want and then just delete it by hitting the delete command. Okay, so this is about tangency, and parallel is very simple. So you are going to draw a line here. Say for example, this is going to be a line, and if you want to make parallel these two parallel, so press C and go to parallel and select this line, and those two become a parallel. And it is not, you cannot able to give any angle for this because it is already parallel to this particular line. And you can see the parallel constraint is over here. So suppose if you want to remove this constraint, you can just select this and hit delete. Okay, and now press C, and we can see perpendicular. It is also very simple to whatever the parallel we can say. So suppose if these two are the lines and they are not perpendicular to each other, so press C and go to perpendicular, select this line and this line. So they are going to be a perpendicular. So this is going to be a perpendicular line constraint. So if you want to delete it, you can just delete it. Okay, so let's press C, and horizontal and vertical. Say for example, now suppose you have created a simple now profile here, and now you can see this is my profile. Okay, so this is my profile, and let me delete this. And you can see, suppose if you want to make it horizontal or vertical, so while drawing it is not done. So if you want to make it, so press C, and we can see these options, horizontal and vertical. So go to vertical and make this as a vertical. And suppose if you want to make it horizontal, you can just make it horizontal. So these are the constraints. You can see horizontal and vertical constraints. So suppose if you delete them, you can able to move them. So again, if you want to make it as a vertical, so just go to vertical here. And again, if you want to make it horizontal, just go to horizontal and select this particular line. So once you have a horizontal and vertical constraint is given to particular line, you can see this constraint. So this is going to be a constraint. So how you are going to select it? So now you can see when I go nearby this point, it is asking for midpoint. So right click, select from a list, and you can see horizontal constraint and delete it. So once you delete it, you can able to make it vertical or horizontal or make any angle for this particular, but this you cannot able to do because it is vertically or horizontally constrained. Okay, so let us press C, and now what we have is horizontal alignment and vertical alignment. So when is going to this is going to be now useful. Say for example, now you can see here there are two circles. So these two circles, whatever the center points are there, suppose if you want to make them vertically aligned, so you can just press C and go to vertical alignment, select this center point and this center point, they are vertically aligned. Okay, in the same way, this center point and this center point, you want to make it horizontally aligned. So in that case, select a horizontal and center point this center point. So you can see these two are vertically aligned and these two are horizontally aligned. So this is the constraint we have. If you want to delete, you can just delete and modify it. So now press C again, and this is a midpoint, so it is not useful. I'm not going to discuss. And collinear, say two lines. Suppose if this is the line, and this is one more line, and this is one more line. So all these three lines, suppose if you are in different locations, so if you want to make them collinear, so go to collinear, and you can just select these two, and they become collinear. So they are in the same line. So you can see now they become collinear. So this way you can just use this collinear, and then we have a concentric. So two circles are there, and if you want to make them concentric, say this is one circle and this is another circle and this is another circle, and if you want to make a concentric, so go to concentric and select these two arc, so they become concentric. So now I'm going to select these two and they become concentric. Okay, so there are two lines here, you can see they are concentric. Okay, so now press C again, and what are we left with is equal length and equal radius. So now I can see here one more circle I'm going to draw, and I'm going to dimension this with 6000. Okay, so this is already given a dimension as a 6000 mm, and this is not having any dimension. You can see here whenever you drag it, it will move up, it will increase and it will decrease, but this is not going to increase and decrease because it is already defined. So suppose if you want to make these two circle with a equal radius, so you can just press C and go to equal radius here and select these two, and now this will also become 6000. So similarly like that, so suppose if there are two lines here, so these two lines, if we want to make an equal length, so press C and go to equal length, and this is going to be, those two becomes an equal length, but it is not yet defined. So if for example if you give 20 mm for this will also going to be 20 mm. If you give 30 mm for this is going to be 30 mm. So similarly, say for example these two lines, suppose if you want to make it as an equal length, so I'm going to define one line here, it is 1450, so let it be as it is. So I'm going to make equal length for this and this, so now this is also going to become 1450. Okay, so this is all about this geometric constraint, guys. So make sure this you are going to switch on this automatic selection progression. So once you select this, when you select any of the feature, it is going to shift into a second object. Say for example if this is switched on, so now what I can do is horizontal alignment. I'll just go to horizontal alignment, and this point, as soon as I select this, so you can see here it is being moved to select a second object. So now I can easily select a second object. Suppose if this is not selected, in that case, suppose if you are going to select 2 points, say for example I'm just going to trying to coincide these 2 points, so I'll just select this point and it will not shift to this. You have to go to shift to this and then select this particular point. So this is how it works, automatic selection progression. So depending on your requirement, you can just switch on this and switch off this. Okay, so this is the end of this geometric constraint, which is the third part of this video. I hope I have given all the details, everything, whatever that is required to create a simple sketches for this simple sketches in NX 19 version. So if you want to practice on Sketcher environment, I have already made more than 10 videos on Sketcher environments practice models. So you can just go to my YouTube channel and check for the videos and practice. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, guys. If you have any questions, please comment in the section below. I will try to answer. Thank you, guys.